The entire team at Emsolation want to acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. We want to recognise that we are recording and telling our stories on the stolen land of our country's first storytellers. We wish to pay our respects to all Wurundjeri elders and ancestors, and to extend that respect to any First Nations peoples who listen to Emsolation. We recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples' continued connection to the land and waters of this country, and acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded. Always was, always will be.
Russiano.
Here's the message for the episode, and we're going to ram it down your throat until you gag.
And Michael Lucas.
Because that's where I turn for nuance. I go straight to Twitter.
This is Emsolation.
Was there anything more insulting than, if you went to school and you wet your pants or something and you had to wear lost property clothes?
Oh, the shame.
You're in Emsolation.
Well, hello there and welcome to Emsolation. My name is Em Russiano. I'm a writer, a singer, a stand-up comedian, a maximalist power queen, a neurodivergent magic brain, and together with my best friend since I was 11, Australian screenwriter, actor, Logie and Augie Award winner, Mr. Michael Lucas, I bring you this podcast every Thursday. Hello, how are you? In this episode, you're going to hear us discuss at length the Bluey episode that has divided the universe. Can you believe the internet is not allowing for a nuanced, layered and sensitive discussion around this issue? I speak of the fact that it has been slammed, the beloved show has been slammed, not slammed. It has just been kind of pulled up on the first 20 seconds of its latest episode around diet culture. And so that led us to talk about being raised by boomers. And if you have a parent who is in that generation, you will have your own relationship with diet culture. We also talk about the infamous night that we hung out with the cast of Glee. So many of you have demanded this story. I have no recollection of it for various trauma-related reasons. Michael was able to give you the blow-by-blow. And we also managed to fall upon promoting Michael's husband's latest show. We didn't mean to. I'm looking for something new to watch on telly. I feel adrift. I'm lost. And I need something to latch onto. And Michael had a suggestion that, look, what a coinky dink you'll hear. I'm going to keep this intro short because it's a nice long old ep. Please enjoy. Thank you for being here. Play the music.
Em Russiano and Michael Lucas. This is Emsolation.
Michael Lucas, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind welcome.
You're wearing a themed T-shirt.
Yeah.
It says Leisure Centre.
That's right.
We had a local leisure centre, Eltham Leisure Centre.
We did. What a mecca it was.
What a yeasty, mouldy, pebble, concreted, moist environment.
It was. It was also...
It's moist. It should just be the moist centre. Everything was wet.
That's right. The air was particularly pungent.
Yes.
It was also a 25-metre pool, and that was the pool...
Indoors!
Where I forgot to factor in that it's 25 metres and I thought I'd broken Ian Thorpe's world record. Remember that? No, sorry, Grant Hackett's. I thought I'd done the 1,500 metres in world record time and didn't realise I was swimming in a pool half the length.
I remember.
Yeah.
I recall. But it's had an upgrade. It has had an upgrade. It's less moist.
Okay, that's good. I did so many Les Mills classes there.
Oh, mate. The thing is, when you go there during the day, it's just the whole community is hairy old dudes.
Is it?
So many hairy old dudes. And they come. I got into an argument with one of them because I was there doing my back rehab, and they've got a big area of a pool. What do they call the hydro pool, where it's a bit warmer?
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is they come out of the sauna, then they get straight in the pool.
Oh, so there's maximum sweat going in there.
Excuse me, sir.
You shower down.
pre-shower, there's like a sign.
Yeah.
I just point to the sign. Like, And they go sauna straight into spa, then just to slow cook themselves a bit more. They don't give a fuck, and then they get into the pool next to you, and I can see it's like pea and ham soup. It's like bacon bone just coming off them.
It's old man broth. I like an old man broth for lunch.
Thank you, Gwyneth. But I used to work in pools, obviously. So that whole environment.
Not obvious, but continue.
No, I mean, working pools, that is such a oh my God. My brain assumes knowledge. I was a swimming teacher and I wrote about it in my book, and I've spoken about it before, but the seedy world of indoor pools could be a mockumentary series. So much goes on. So many inappropriate conversations have to happen, and oftentimes teenage lifeguards are getting in between women fighting over water aerobics classes and who had which lane first.
Yeah.
And so many times you are having to really break up arguments between old people over the pettiest things. So obviously a job I was born to do.
Yeah.
But I remember having to turn the public spa off at the end of my shift.
Is this why you can't have baths to this day?
I saw what a day of just marinating human skin did. And you'd flick off the bubbles and then everything would just settle.
Oh, and then it all would be revealed.
The thing that used to blow my mind is sometimes I would find like a condom. And I'm like, what are the logistics of having sex in a spa, full stop, even if it's at your house? But what's a condom going to do? I mean, I'm not a climate scientist, but what is a condom doing in warm water? Like, anyway.
You'd think enterprising sperm would be able to just flow out everywhere.
I feel like it's the ultimate environment.
They'd have a hard battle. There's a lot of chlorine in that water. I mean, I'd be interested to know.
And I've written about this and spoke about this. The hardest job I ever had to do was a lovely old man used to come in. I worked at the Reservoir Leisure Centre, and he used to come in every morning without fail for a swim, but he unfortunately would wear swimming trunks that didn't cover.
Too exposing.
Yes. And eventually I drew the short straw after we got so many complaints.
Perfect woman for the job.
Well, I had to ask him because it was just one ball would drop out, one ball as he would get out from his laps and he would like do his old man stretches. It would just like,
oh yeah,
can't make the noise in my mouth. And it was like, you go. And I don't know, this you can tell it was the 90s. The 16-year-old
yes
was sent to
such
talk
an
to
appropriate choice.
80-year-old.
How did you phrase it?
It's like, oh, Gerald, look, you might need to think about getting some new bathers.
Right.
I think in the end we gave him some from Lost Property, from memory.
Yeah.
And he wore those Lost Property bathers. Was there anything more insulting than, if you went to school and you wet your pants or something and you had to wear Lost Property clothes?
Oh, the shame. Absolutely.
Elio came home in a Lost Property T-shirt the other day. I was like, what happened? What happened? And
a
he's
T-shirt though?
A T-shirt. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I spilt something.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, okay.
Thank
but
God.
still, I just realised I was having an acid flashback to the shame
Yeah.
of a Lost Property T-shirt. I'd honestly rather walk around topless in primary school than have to wear. Anyway, why are we talking about the leisure? Yes. So, Bluey. Okay, let's talk about Bluey. Now, new eps of Bluey are dropping, and I can tell you, so exciting, because I have been watching the same episodes.
Forever and ever. And also, Bluey is the #1 television show on Australian TV, not kids' show, of all shows. And I feel like it deserves a moment. For years, all the executives said, all we can do is reality TV. It's the only thing that rates. Bluey is thrashing them. And reality TV now, all of the Legos and your celebrities and your Farmers Wants a Wives and everything like that, they're all being lapped by Bluey. And, in fact, even by things like Australian Story. Like reality, touch wood, could be on the way out. Not that it hasn't given us some beautiful things such as your public exposure.
Thanks, babes. And also, a season of Bluey takes, people don't understand, I think I read, and I want to make sure of this, one episode takes 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, it sounds right.
I think it was or could have even been 6, but I know it's not just to just draw a few frames and get some voices. It is way harder to make Bluey than it is to make maths, put it that way.
Yes.
And so we get a date, we're excited, new eps, because I can really recite every other ep word perfect.
Yeah.
And Exercise is the name of the latest ep. And look, the opening scenes of Exercise have, to be honest, divided the internet. I've never seen anything like this. And I want to...
Certainly not with Bluey.
No.
Unimpeachable Bluey.
And this show, it does. It gets it right.
Yeah.
It just does. You can't... It's unimpeachable. And so I was watching it with everyone else the second it dropped. And I'm sitting there and I watched the opening scenes. And I felt like, oh. And I questioned myself because I know that I have like a very sensitive kind of radar to things. And I'm like, And then the rest of the show was great. And, I sat and I mulled over it. And then I started noticing comments coming through from people that I respect, questioning the same thing I question. So basically, Bandit, Bluey's dad, is getting ready for work. He's brushing his teeth and he goes over and he weighs himself.
Oh, man.
Obviously displeased with the number. Unbeknownst to him, Bluey is in the bathtub and pops up.
What?
And she says...
Why did you say, oh, man?
After what happened. And he just said...
I just need to do some exercise.
Clearly unhappy with his weight. Chili, the mum comes in, weighs herself, same reaction. Also, Bandit is grabbing his stomach, the skin on his stomach.
Yeah.
Some people are saying it's fine. This is an accurate depiction of real life.
It was me just this morning without the kids.
Yeah. And then others are saying it's a potentially harmful message to send to kids who are starting, kids start forming an idea of body image around 4, which is Leo's age. And it's a potential kind of, it's pretty harmful to equate exercise with weight loss to begin with, to be shaming your own body in front of your kids, to be shaming your own body full stop from a show that is beloved. And as usual, the internet is not allowing for nuance on this topic. It's going to shock you.
Because that's where I turn for nuance.
Yeah.
I go straight to Twitter.
Because it's it's both. You know what I'm saying? It is an accurate depiction of real life, 100%. But it is also, I think, fat phobic. I just think it could have easily been nipped in the bud if Bandit was just feeling a bit flat.
Or
which is a bit sad.
I feel like you could have, and I'm just thinking this now, but it could have been something like he's out of puff when he's going up the stairs.
Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah, fitness.
Like just going my heart, lung endurance. Because it reminds me of, it feels like just yesterday, Taylor Swift had to re-edit that video clip.
Correct.
Where she stood on the scales and the scales said fat.
Yeah. That was not great.
No, I mean, that was much worse. Much
Yes.
worse. And she swiftly...
But never mentioned it.
No.
You'll notice.
No.
Took it out of the film.
Smart, I think,
Never
from her
addressed it.
perspective.
But I think, the Bluey fandom is hardcore. They're as hardcore as Swifties and Stylers, I'll tell you right now.
Really?
I'm labelling them the healers, okay? The Bluey fandom from now on, I will call you, the collective noun is the healers. I'm a healer.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I'm a healer.
But that's slightly terrifying because it sounds evangelical.
Which they are. And anytime criticism is levelled at this show, and it's only happened probably 2 or 3 times, another time it happened around racial diversity.
Yeah.
And also there's a lot, disabled groups are calling for one of the characters, Jack, who's a Jack Russell, clearly has ADHD, but it's never spoken about. So there's also been a bit of conversation around, wouldn't it be great if Bluey had some disabled friends?
Yeah.
And anytime that stuff comes up, there's a panic. I can sense it. I sense the panic from the parents thinking, well, if this is the first domino that goes down against this show and this show gets cancelled, what the fuck am I going to do? What are my kids going to watch? How am I going to get a break? I sense it. I see you. I feel you. I see you.
It's also must be especially intense, like with Harry Potter. If it's a part of your children's childhood and something your family shares together, so much is invested in it.
Yeah. I understand and I can see it. And people are going at it online. Parents are turning on parents. It's hectic. But I just want everyone to remember this show does get it right 99.9% of the time.
Yeah.
And important to point out, the rest of the episode, fantastic. It talks about incorporating kids with your exercise because it is hard to find time to exercise. The doctor says to Bandit, hey, you seem really healthy. Doesn't talk about the way he's looking or, no physical comments whatsoever. It's absolutely 99.9% perfect. It's just that first 10 seconds. And in the scheme of things, is this one episode going to give 4-year-olds eating disorders? No.
Think what we grew up with.
But it's death by 1,000 cuts. It's chink in the armour because there's so many messages coming at our kids about how they should and shouldn't look that I think if we let this one slide, just this tiny, it doesn't matter, who cares? It's a great show. It is a great show. So we hold it to a higher standard. So if you're kind of hearing all this discussion around it thinking, it's an overreaction, Bluey's great, I just ask you to pause and know that both of those things can exist. Bluey is great, but I believe Bluey got it wrong in the first 20 seconds. And on the scheme of things for a television show, we can recover. Bluey's okay.
Yes.
Don't panic. It's going to be okay, healers. Don't worry.
My reaction to it when I was watching it was every time because obviously I'm not a regular viewer. I mean, a lot of adults do just watch it with their kids because it is fantastic. But every time I watch it, I am dazzled at how natural that family sounds, how natural those kids are. And I just read it instantly as, yeah, this would be happening in most bathrooms in Australia, wouldn't it? Or do you reckon parents are more mindful?
I think, if we're going to go deeply psychological, I think it triggered a lot of parents.
Because they know they do it.
Mm-hmm. And they felt shame around it.
Yeah.
Because I would never. My house is positive body space. We do not speak in terms of body. My kids have always been told, you look strong, you look great. Like, it's just I've never said the words, you look thin or slim or nothing like that to my girls. It's just, we just don't do that. And there's no scales in my house, none. So I think in a lot of households, parents may have felt called out. Do you know what I mean? Like, and when they started seeing the negative stuff around it, going, oh shit, I do this. And that's okay if you do it. Stop. You can stop right now. And I do believe, I think it's troubling enough to bring up, and I also hope that it starts a conversation within parents and between parents thinking about the way you talk about yourself and the way you model yourself is your kids' first kind of exposure to that relationship with self. And we were raised by boomers.
Oh, yeah.
And like my first favourite storybook, The Hippopotamus is on the Roof Eating Cake, when they're sitting around at the dinner table, Mum's having a salad. That's written down on the page.
It's important to establish these differentiations early.
Like it literally, we sit down to dinner, we eat whatever they're eating. Mum's having a salad. And it's like, oh. And it never hit me until I went back to read that book to Elio. And I was like, oh, poor Mum with her sad bit of iceberg.
It's practically once upon a time, the best women stayed thin. And that's still the case today.
Pretty much. Because for me, in the 80s, especially the diet culture with our mums, a diet was, you know what, tomorrow the diet starts. Like it was a positive thing. I'm taking control of my life. I'm starting a diet. Whereas now it's lifestyle change. I'm making a lifestyle change. I'm doing some self-care. But a diet meant, well, that's it.
I'm just going to say I still think there's some pretty strong diet culture in this world today.
But we don't use the word, is my point. The word diet is dirty. We just have found other ways around it.
Every time I'm on Facebook, I see ads for like the different, 16, 9, 5, 2, all of those various different things. Like I'm flooded with ads with it all the time. But paleo, fucking all the different kinds of intermittent fasting and all these sort of things constantly. It's the biggest thing. They must know.
98% of diets fail.
See, my mum actually was, I think our mums were both kind of obsessed with weight.
I feel like any mum in the 80s was obsessed with weight. If you had a mum who had a healthy body image, she was the exception.
A rare one. Yeah, my mum was not prone to fad diets, but thinness was really important to her. And she basically was militant about eating healthily and she got lots of exercise. She walked the dogs all the time. But I was prone to being a bit hefty as a child.
Oh, it's true.
And look, there may have been a time.
Yeah. It's okay.
When she turned to me.
Oh, no.
Looked at me askance and said, when's the baby due? Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I know. And look, am I isolating the single, probably wobbliest moment? Oh, no. By and large, she encouraged healthy eating, vegetables, fruit, prompted me to exercise and all those sort of things. She was generally pretty good, but she did in that moment. And what a sentence. To bring in shaming on so many levels, to bring in weird gender stuff into it, it really did the trick. I'm still living in the blow up.
I know.
And I also got cast as Peter Pan. And she did say something like, well, they're going to need a strong rig to get you flying. Yep.
Okay. Jenny certainly never said anything like that to us. Jenny was more doing it to herself.
Yeah.
But also for me, No wonder you eat soup
Oh,
for
look.
dinner every day. Jesus.
I do. I eat soup too. No, I am Bluey's dad. I'm on the scales every morning going, oh man.
I don't want to know. I put on 5 kilos if I don't have water the day before. My weight fluctuates so much.
Yeah, it is mental.
I don't want to know. I don't want to swear. Everything I wear is Lycra. It just goes with me. I'll never know. For me, I have had disordered eating, and I've only just started kind of talking to my girls about this because it's a hard, I've got so many other things I'm trying to fucking deal with. But I've had a bad relationship with food since I was about 8, and it was getting right into kind of elite athletics. And I had to weigh a certain amount to race. It was 55 kilos, right? Which is really not much. And now I know because I'm autistic and ADHD, I became obsessed with that number. And if I was over that number, then I would get really upset that I've broken the rules and I've got to get to that exact number. And I had to be 55 on the knocker. Like it couldn't be 50.
Jesus.
Not from my coaches, from me.
Mm-hmm.
But I would get pinched, fat tested, I'd get weighed. And so I would, especially Easter, and I noticed myself, I get anxious around Easter and Christmas because I know that there's going to be lots of chocolate around, and I know I have food impulse control issues, and I felt myself feeling anxious at Easter. And then I kind of was talking to Scott about it, and I said, I realized it's because I was always on a diet to be a certain weight for athletics that I would get anxious around times that was centered around food because, I'm Italian, so you eat. And it's just, and I would want to because I would have been starving myself for the week leading into it. So I've had such an unhealthy relationship with food. And even now, especially because I'm autistic, I can only eat certain foods that are safe. So it's really, my relationship with food is so toxic. And I was talking to my daughters about it because they're fine. And I'm grateful for that. The girls have a great relationship with food and their body image is that of, 21 and 16-year-old girls. But we openly talk about what's achievable and both of them do, they do what they can. But I think there's a lot of people our age that if they really thought about it, and no wonder this episode of Bluey is triggering because we've grown up both in extreme diet culture and our mothers kind of falling victim to it, but also now we're aware of how we should be parenting and how we need to be positive body image and we don't want to scar our kids and how diet isn't everything and we want to embrace our bodies. There's no such thing as good and bad bodies, And
we're meant to be the corrective generation.
Well, we are on so many fronts.
And as a result, we've spent our entire lives completely self-conscious about everything we eat and also how we talk about what we eat.
Thank you. And parenting, because our parents didn't give a shit. They were off having orgies at Trivial Pursuit parties, keys in the bowls. We were sleeping under pool tables, eating cheese twisties for dinner. Like that boomers, I would go riding for 3 days. My parents would have no idea. Now I'm like, I track my children. I've got chips in them. And we're the first parents to be parenting kids who've only known social media. Like what? How history has its eyes on me right now, Michael? History has its eyes on me. How will history judge the first generation of parents who parented the Zeds?
Yeah, I know. It's the parenting equivalent of a pentathlon or something like that.
It is. Anyway, if you love that Bluey episode and you don't have a problem with it, that's okay. If you love that Bluey episode but you do have a problem with the first 20 seconds, also okay. I think we need to be able to have conversations and understand that we're not going to cancel this show because maybe it upset a few people. Get curious. Get curious as to why it triggered you or it didn't. But it's all right, healers. I'll see you.
Can you actually exercise with little kids effectively the way that he does?
That's my issue with the episode.
Yeah, well, that would be the thing that I would bring up because I was looking at it going, gee, it's beautiful to think I could just be lifting kids up and down like a lift for a little bit and that might be the workout I need. I don't know that they'd cooperate.
My main problem with Bluey...
I would love to see you and Elio attempt to do some sort of workout like that.
You've seen us together. Those fucking kids, they get run of the house too much. Not on my watch.
You mean on Bluey they get run of the house?
Parents are too patient with them. The most unrealistic thing about Bluey is how patient Chili and Bandit are with those two girls.
I'm just waiting for the Bluey episode where little Bluey goes up to his dad and says, Dad, I'm going to call the police and put you in jail.
I want an episode where the outrageous Italian aunt comes to visit and if those kids say... If she says, I'm going to go do some exercise because I'm feeling a bit flat, and those kids say, hey, can I get involved? No, you cannot. It's my time, you little shits. Go off and play with your toys. I'll let you know when I am ready. It's my time. Give us the call, ABC. I'm ready to go. That show needs a hard-ass parent on there because I need to see some representation from the hard-asses out there. I'm hard-ass. I'm loving.
They need to bring in a bull terrier.
Yes. I see that. Rosie the bull terrier. Rosie Ristretto. Right.
Oh, do you have a vocal talent in mind?
Me. Rough. Rosie Ristretto turns
Even
up.
your bark was passive-aggressive. Ruff.
It's like, oh, Dad's like, I've got to go to work. And the kid's like, oh, but we want to play. And instead of going, no, I've got to go to work so I can put a roof over your head and put food on the table. Do you want to live outside? Do you want to live in a tent? Do you want to play now? Or do you want to be homeless? I'm going to work, dickheads.
Good thing is, if anything happens to you, they can just get Effie or Tina Arena to play the role.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
We could be a family. We could be a hot lesbian couple. We could be a Greek and Italian same-sex couple, hard-ass parenting. Has to be a good cop and a bad cop, though. Can't both be hard-asses. It needs to be nuance. All I'm saying is my main criticism of Bluey is that there isn't a realistic hard-ass parent in there.
Right.
That's what I want to see.
Okay,
Yeah.
well.
Everyone's too kind. We have touched on this story so many times, and then we were just in our patron crowdcast. If you're a patron of Emsolation, you get to join Michael and I pre-show to discuss what's going to be on the show. And one of our patrons said, please, can you talk about the story, the time you and Michael hung out with the Glee cast in Sydney?
Yeah.
Now, because I have trauma and I can't remember that night. And
Oh, I can.
good. So, Michael Lucas, you will be involved in the retelling of the time we hung out with the cast of Glee in Sydney.
Okay. Well, I would say it was like 2005.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was residing in Sydney in a big share house. I was with Gypsy by that stage. I
Yeah,
think.
I was living in
This is
Perth.
Irrelevant. But you were a breakfast radio host.
Yep.
In
Just
fact,
off
it
of
was,
Idol.
Yes, a little bit after Idol, and you were very much at the pinnacle of your Perth breakfast radio career. And at the stage when a new show launched, sometimes you would be flown over for the press junket. Yes. And at this particular stage, you would get put up in a hotel, and sometimes I would go and stay.
Yes.
And that was very exciting. And it was for a new show called Glee that you suspected that I would like, and you had been given one episode to watch. It was not on air. It had just started in the United States. And you said, come and meet me at, I don't know, the Today FM offices, and there's going to be sort of like a rooftop cocktail party. You'll be free drinks, and there'll be all the cast there. And so I went. But it was weird because it was for a show that, like, I didn't know what it was. You barely knew what it was.
I just knew it was musical and camp.
Yeah.
I knew that they performed covers of pop songs, and that was it. I'm sold. I mean, I couldn't press like, take my money.
Yeah, totally.
That's all I knew.
Oh, and we loved it. I mean,
We loved
absolutely
it.
loved it.
So problematic now.
So problematic.
Let's not think about it.
No.
It's best. Sometimes things are just left unexamined in the past and it is as an example of a moment in time.
Tell you what, if you think Bluey's dad doing a fat pinch was had some issues, go back and watch an average episode of Glee. But anyway, we were on that. I recall it being a beautiful summer's night.
Yeah.
We were on the rooftop, and yeah, all the cast were there. And I got there, and you were giving me your little debrief about who you enjoyed speaking to. And I remember that the little gay guy, Chris, Kurt.
He played Kurt in the
Kurt.
show. What's his name in real life? Chris.
Oh, how quickly,
believe you're
how
right.
fickle we are.
Hang on a minute. It's fine. Hang on a minute.
I want to say Chris Colfer, but I think he's the Leave Britney Alone.
Kurt from Glee. Chris Colfer.
I was right.
You were right.
There we go.
Chris Colfer. He was great.
He was
He was
great.
my favourite.
You loved him.
In real life and on the show.
Totally.
Totally.
Yes.
Moving forward for all time. Yeah.
Yes.
Still is. And unimpeachable. It hasn't done awful things and is still alive, which seems to be. It seems to be.
Well, I mean, that's one of the first things that we need to say. There are
Rest in peace.
a lot of members of
Yeah.
that cast that are no longer with us.
Rest in peace.
And
R.I.P.
that were all there and there. And that is when I think back on it, I think about that is surreal to think how many people we were speaking to that were so young. They were like babies. And how many of them are not there?
There's piles of bones and dust. Ash. Ugh.
Leah Michelle was there, though.
Yes.
It was already abundantly clear that
She felt that she was above having to do this type of bullshit.
I was going to be so much more diplomatic. All I remember was at that rooftop thing, she was a bit concerned that she was being crowded. and wanted some space and everything like that. And I remember thinking, lady, you're not famous yet. No one knows who you are.
She
If you're
knew.
getting crowded, it was
She
like,
fucking knew.
anyway. We hung out for a little bit on the rooftop and we did chat to Chris Cole for a little bit. But then we decided to peel off and have a night out as we were wont to do. And so we're roaming around the streets of Sydney.
Now, I have a hazy memory of running across the street, pulling you across to go to a bar, and it was late. And
Yeah.
I just see white cotton linen, like a flag flowing in the breeze. I don't know why. When I think back to the time, I just get this instant image of me yanking you across a road. There was no traffic because it was in the middle of the night, and I must have been in a white slutty dress. I feel like that's what
Maybe.
I'm using.
Can I just say, we didn't take pictures this night, which is so remiss. Who are we?
There was no
Why?
iPhones yet.
Oh, you're right.
It was pre-iPhones.
Oh, my God.
It was
What
the
a time.
fucking
What a
Nokias.
time.
Nokias. I would have had
Oh
to be
my
like
God.
predictive texting you. Get here, bitch.
Oh, my
It would
God.
take me 20 million. You should have seen me trying to predictive text. It came through like ransom notes. It was
Yeah.
bad.
Anyway, we're out and about in Sydney, and then we just run into them. There's a group of them, not with Leah Michelle anymore. She'd peeled off.
What a shock.
But there was a group of them that were roaming out, and then they called out. They were like, hey. And they obviously, I like to think, because you were one of the younger, cooler
Thanks, babes.
ones,
Yeah.
you really stood out to them.
Yeah.
And I do remember Chris Colfer really gravitated towards you, and they sort of said, we're looking for a place to go. Like, do you know anywhere? And then you were like, he lives in Sydney. What do you think? I've never felt more pressure in my entire life. I know. And I remember we were right in the CBD. I don't know why we were there. But anyway, all I remembered was that there was a bar on top of establishment that was like a very classy, like I'd been there as Baz Luhrmann's assistant. So I thought, well, let's just go there. It was actually a bad choice. But anyway, we caught a lift and we went up, and it was sort of like we got given an area and we ordered all these cocktails and everything like that. It was a very, very classy sort of bar. We were sitting there chatting mostly to Chris, and also who was... I just need to get out. This is I just need to look up Glee car so I can remember.
You got it?
Oh, yeah, I've got them all here.
Okay.
Amber Riley.
Oh, babe. Yes.
She was
Amazing.
fantastic, and she was talking
Still
about...
is.
Yeah, she was talking about they'd just gone to air in the States, so I feel really excited about it. I remember Mark Selling, who is another one. Yeah, I know.
He played Puck.
Yeah, and anyway, Google it.
No, don't. Just let it, just know.
I still remember you looking at him. He was sort of a bit quiet off to
was
the
hot.
side, and you were like going, you're looking a bit too cool for school. What's going on there? And he's just sort of, I don't know. He didn't want to
Turns out,
engage.
evil reincarnate.
Corey Monteith.
Oh,
he was really lovely. He had a bit of a stoner vibe.
Yeah.
But basically, as far as we were concerned, it was all about Chris Colfer and Amber Riley, and we were
Correct.
just chatting to them eventually. And then eventually,
I have no memory of any of this. You could say anything right now and I wouldn't remember.
it just got to a point where I was like reading the room in this bar, and I'm like, okay, this is far too sedate. It's the wrong choice. And I remember Amber going, we just really want to like go out and dance, because they were all like
Under 21.
yes,
Yeah.
and so in the United States they couldn't, so
Yeah.
they're here and
Yeah.
they want to go out. I'm like,
You took
okay,
them to an old gay bar.
okay. And so
Did we go and dance?
we went in briefly for one song, and then we personally left. So. But I was like, okay. And then I was just like, my heart was pounding, more pressure. And we're wandering down towards Circular Quay, and I was, step after step, I'm thinking, where am I leading them to? There's nothing around there. And then thank God, like there was some pub, and it was blasting
Right.
Lady Gaga's Poker Face.
Oh my God.
Which was like a hit of the time.
Hi, gay.
Yes. And they just, it was like a clarion call. They all heard it, and then we raced across the road, and it was like not a good pub. It really wasn't. There were a lot of sort of like older
Maybe that's
men
the
just
memory
sitting
I'm
around.
having pulling you across the road.
Yeah, oh no, we were.
Okay,
We
got it.
practically were run over by traffic.
Oh, got it.
But they could not have cared less. They went and ordered huge drinks. We
Amazing.
all went on the dance floor, and I just still remember them belting away to Lady Gaga and singing in unison, which was pretty amazing. And at that stage, I felt like, okay, we
peaked.
did it.
We
We
knew.
did it. And then we left, which
Good.
is insane. We could have stayed there all night dancing with them.
You and I get overwrought at these things.
We were only like 26, 27 ourselves.
Correct.
We were young people.
No, but still, I
We
think
felt old.
Not only that, you and I also know when we couldn't have topped it. And I feel like the anxiety that it might have gotten worse or become a bad memory for me certainly would have.
We wanted to it was like we were playing roulette. We'd had a win. We were like, cash in.
Yeah, take it out.
And they were so happy. They were happy dancing. They're having a wonderful night. We wanted it away.
Night.
I doubt it. Actually, you know what? If they did remember it, you might have, because it was really exciting for them as late teenagers to be able to go out in Australia and just buy drinks and
I'm going to challenge our audience. I want to challenge our audience to get in contact with Kurt.
Oh no.
Yeah. And see if we can like tag him enough times. This is so commercial breakfast radio of me. But I want to somehow, I'll get Ben on it. All of us get on it. I'll send him a DM and be like, hey, do you remember 20 odd years ago or whatever it was, 15, a night out in Australia, in Sydney, the show, surely he would remember. The show had just come out. I mean, it was the first time they'd all been to this country.
Yeah.
Maybe we are a hazy, joyful memory for the cast that are still alive and are not in jail.
I feel like you'd need to say you met up with one of the interviewers, you went to a really sedate old person's classy bar. They realised that was a mistake, and then they took you to a pretty like he would think of it as a dive bar if he's American, a dive bar where they were playing Lady Gaga and you were in bliss. Okay. Do you remember it?
All right, let's try.
I bet you he doesn't.
Oh, but then
again, he might. Actually, he probably would remember the night. I don't think he'd remember us.
How dare you?
Maybe he'd remember you.
M. Russiano and Michael Lucas. This is Emsolation.
Gang, just a bit of a trigger warning here. We are about to discuss a TV show that central theme is around suicide and suicide prevention. So feel free to skip ahead or just know to take particular care of yourself. Before you go, I've given up on Ted Lasso.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I'm still watching it, but I'm kind of hate watching it.
How the winds change.
Season 2 is lame.
I know. Well, you know, there was a big shake-up going into season 3.
Good.
So I think he demanded it. And
it was lame. They've taken Roy out, who's the best thing. Like, Roy's barely in it. Roy is...
I actually haven't seen season 2.
It's just a lot of, it's like virtue signaling. It's like, here's the message for the episode and we're going to ram it down your throat until you gag. It's just too much. I don't want the feel-good fuzzies from, don't tell me how I'm meant to be feeling about things. Let me figure that out. And they've taken all these great characters and just kind of muzzled them. Like they've taken the edge off Rebecca, who's the CEO. She's not a hard bitch anymore. She's delivering presents to orphans on Christmas Day. I don't want her doing that. I want to see a shopping montage of her buying herself Cartier. Like, they've taken all the characters and made them nice.
Are you bereft without a television show now?
I am adrift in the universe. I'm free-falling. I can't watch Beef. I'm too anxious. I tried to watch Mrs. Maisel, but I'm locked out of my Amazon Prime account and I don't know the password and I don't know how to get the password and I'm not signing up for a third time. So now I'm just like in this weird silent war with Amazon Prime that's my own fault. So I can't watch the new episodes of Mrs. Maisel. I can't watch, I'm doing Succession, but there's only been 3 yet.
I know, they're drip feeding 4
What do I watch? What can I watch? And let me tell you what I'm wanting. This is a very specific...
All right.
I want something that isn't going to set off my fight or flight nervous system.
Yeah.
I want something that's engaging. I want something that makes me think. I want something that's warm but also has edge. I want an element of design and creativity. So, and it has to have gay men in it, I would say. I often enjoy it. And I want it to have a culturally diverse cast. I want to see some disability represented.
Oh, my God. Okay. Wait.
And if there's a musical element, I won't be mad. And I tried to watch Schmigadoon. It was terrible.
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't make a strong suggestion. This is going to look like we've set this up.
No! You have a suggestion?
I do.
What?
There's a show coming on Thursday on Stan called Totally Completely Fine. I'm not making... Okay,
is this the one your husband?
He's one of the directors.
What?
People are
going to think we've set this up.
I know. I swear to God.
I swear to God.
We haven't set this up.
No.
Yeah.
Are you telling me there's a show that your husband is
He's
involved
one of the directors.
Oh,
yes.
This is great.
There's 2 directors.
Tell me, I'm making a note.
Okay.
People
totally.
are genuinely going to think.
No.
We have not.
We've not. We have not. We've got no money from Stan.
No.
We have not. And he certainly didn't tell me to do this, but it was just everything that you were saying. I'm not sure about the disability representation. That could be wrong. But I've only seen the pilot episode. So.
What's it called? Completely
Completely Fine. It stars
What are the chances?
Thomasin McKenzie,
Okay.
who was the star of Jojo Rabbit, New Zealand actress.
Right.
Yes. And also Devon Terrell, who played Barack Obama, young Barack Obama.
Amazing.
Hot. Yep. Anyway, the story is about a very dysfunctional family and a young woman who is, basically all over the place. Her grandfather dies and leaves her this cliff-top house.
Shut up. So she's getting a house.
She's getting a house, which
Needs to be made
seems fantastic.
Is it the house?
Probably
is the
does
house
have to be- No.
falling
but-
down?
No, here's the thing.
Okay.
The house.
Yes. Haunted.
No.
Ah.
It's like,
Extra points if there's a mystical element.
no, it's in an area that attracts an enormous number of jumpers.
I'm Anna from number 10. Can we come in? Now's not the best. So impressive what you've taken on. Sorry, what? I mean the suicidal people.
Mum, I don't think she realizes.
People come here to... Yeah, it's been that way for a while. Walt got at least one a week.
Please don't. Why not? Well, this is my new backyard.
This is a comedy. It's still a comedy. Anyway.
Big mistake. Big. Huge.
No, wait. And so really what the grandfather has done, because she finds out when she gets to the house,
He's a ghost.
he
He
was
haunts her.
known for his incredible ability to be able to speak to people and
talk
engage
them
them
off.
and bring them back. Yes, and
Okay.
it's based on a real person, the Angel of the Gap in Sydney. Yes, and yes.
Angel of the Cat.
That's, yes.
There's no ghosts?
No, I haven't seen them. I haven't seen them so far. But it's about, it's about her relationship with her family, and there is a strong gay storyline that I think you'll thoroughly.
So does she have to take the spot of talking?
Yes, yeah. She has to learn, and in doing that, in trying to heal all these other people,
She
she's kind of
is able to heal
healing her
herself.
own life. There's good music. Thomason's amazing. I'd be interested. That's my best recommendation. Do I
But
have any
trigger
other ones?
warning to everyone, there are
Yeah.
ideologies of self-harm and
Yes,
perhaps
absolutely.
people shouldn't watch it if they're in precarious mental states. Or perhaps it depends how you're feeling.
Well, just know that it deals
It's a
with
theme.
suicide. Yes,
Yeah.
obviously, but mostly
I didn't
it's.
know there was a person that was really good at talking people off that this was a real life. Oh.
Yeah, Angel of the Gap. He was a
God.
Sydney legend.
No musical, no ghosts. Okay,
I
I'll give it
don't.
a chance.
I
give it a
don't
chance.
believe there's ghosts. Have you watched Ghosts on the ABC? It's a BBC show. It's a British show. Kylie Minogue just did the Christmas special. It's like 4 seasons now. It's a traditional sitcom coupled by an old English manor house, and it turns out there's ghosts from all these various eras.
Love a ghost.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you could have a crack
All
at
right.
that. It's very comforting.
Totally, completely fine though. What episode did Adrian direct?
4.
Is
Haven't
it all
seen it
coming
yet.
out at once or one at a time?
All coming out at once.
How exciting.
I can't believe that happened. It just looks too sus.
I feel dirty, but we did nothing wrong.
No, we didn't.
Genuinely not.
I'm still loving the circus, but that's not
I love
stressful.
the circus. No, the circus is fine, but it's political documentary commentary.
Hmm.
Like I have it on in the background. For me, the circus is like a podcast, but I need something that's going to distract me from the immense shit going down in my life currently. So, and it's all fine and it's going to be fine, but I got a lot on my mind of real life stuff, so I just want to escape.
Maybe something where people race close to a cliff and consider jumping off is not good for you.
No,
at the moment.
maybe not.
But in general.
And does call for the fact that I need to make my own TV show because generally I like to make things that I need. So,
Yeah.
coming to a television screen near you, the amazing musical
It's a warm, sassy, musical hug of a television
Haunted.
show. With ghosts.
and gays.
Musical ghosts.
Gay musical ghosts.
You should make a show where someone buys a house and there's there's the ghosts of dead pop stars.
You know what? I should. And if only... Fuck, if only I knew someone, and God, this is, just stay with me here. If only I had a lifelong friend who was arguably the most influential person in television. Fuck, God, that would be so handy. If only I had that person. I'll just keep an eye out for them. If only, fucking hell. All right, bye.
Goodbye.
This is Emsolation.
All right, that's it from us this week. Have a wonderful week ahead. And I just want to encourage you to become a deeper member of the Emsolation community if you want to. You can become a patron. You could shout the team a coffee, which is always a lovely thing. You could be a pen pal. Make sure you're following us on Instagram where all our lovely videos go up. You can join the Facebook group. It's a fantastic community that I'm super proud of, that support each other, that make suggestions. There are in real life meetups going on with Emsolators. They're going to shows together. Speaking of shows, I am performing at the K-Hole this Saturday night at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, Ruben K show at the Forum. I know it's close to sold out. It's happening this Saturday night, 22nd of April. You can get your tickets at the Melbourne International Comedy the Melbourne International Comedy Festival website. Just look up K-Hole. What a great thing for your Google search history, hey? I'll see some of you there, I think, already on Saturday night. Otherwise, we'll chat soon. Look after yourselves. Bye.
Emsolation with M. Rossiano is a Spotify exclusive podcast recorded at Down the Hill Studios, hosted by M. Rossiano with Michael Lucas and sometimes her eldest daughter, Marcella. Executive produced by Benjamin Wasley. Produced by M. Rossiano. Edited by Ezekiel Fenn. With videos by James Henderson. Socials by Marcella Rossiano Barrow. With assistance from Jem Evans, plus cameos from M's dad Vinci. Get the full Emsolation experience by following us on Instagram at Emsolation Podcast. You can also sign up for our weekly newsletter. Join other Emsolators at the Emsolation group on Facebook. The answer is Harry Styles. If you really want to help us out, you could become a patron of Emsolation. Share this podcast with a friend. Give us a 5-star rating and make sure you're following us on the Spotify app by actually hitting the follow button. As always, thanks for listening, and we're excited to chat with you again soon.
Was that long enough?
Hi, gay.